There is a humbling truth to life that we often fail to acknowledge. The moment you are experiencing right now will never come again. Not in the same way. Not with the same people. Not with the same emotions, circumstances, or sensations. Even as we sit here, our lives are moving forward, each second slipping irreversibly into the past. Yet, how often do we treat the present as something disposable? How often do we live as though time is infinite? As though moments like these will always be available to us in some indistinct future. This is the essence of Ichigo Ichie, the Japanese art of appreciating every moment as if it were the only one. It is not just a poetic ideal, it is a lens through which we can truly see the world as it is, fleeting, vivid, and profoundly precious. The philosophy invites us to wake up to the profound reality of impermanence, to embrace the fact that everything we love, everything we fear, and everything we experience is ephemeral. You might wonder, why does this matter? Why should we care about the impermanence of life? Because it forces us to confront the way we live. It calls into question how much of our life we actually live and how much of it we spend merely existing. Are you truly here right now, or is your mind elsewhere? Are you fully alive in this moment, or are you lost in thoughts of what has been or what might be? The truth is, most of us are distant from the very life we are living. We allow ourselves to be consumed by distractions, by tasks, by worries, by the endless noise of a world that demands so much from us. We rush through our days, our weeks, our years, believing that life is something to be managed, solved, or conquered. But life is not a puzzle to be solved. It is an experience to be lived. And the only place it can be lived is here, now, in this moment. Consider this: how often do you truly taste your food? Not just eat it, but savor it, feel its texture, notice its flavors, appreciate the beauty of its preparation. How often do you listen to someone, not just hear their words, but truly listen to the emotions behind them, to the person speaking them? How often do you look at the world around you, not just glance at it, but actually see it?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Ichigo Ichie teaches us that every moment is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Even the most ordinary moments contain within them the potential to be extraordinary if we give them our attention. The quiet moments of sipping tea, the sound of rain against a window, the warmth of the sun on your face, these are not insignificant. They are life itself, and yet we often fail to notice them. Why is that? Why do we spend so much of our lives disconnected from the present? Perhaps it is because the present moment can feel too small, too simple to hold our attention. We are drawn to the past because it is familiar, and we are drawn to the future because it is full of possibility. The present, by contrast, feels fleeting and unremarkable, but this is an illusion. The present is where everything happens. It is where life unfolds. The past is gone, and the future is not yet real. Only this moment exists. Think about the last time you were truly present, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually present. How did it feel? Was there a sense of stillness, of clarity, of connection? Did the world seem more vivid, more alive? And if that is the case, why do we not live this way more often? The answer is simple, yet deeply unsettling. We are afraid. We are afraid of the vulnerability that comes with being fully present. We are afraid of the silence, of the stillness, of the rawness of life as it is. It is safer to dwell in the past or the future because it allows us to avoid the reality of the present. But safety is not the same as living. To live is to risk, to feel, to experience. To live is to embrace the uncertainty and the wonder of the moment you are in. But how do we do this? How do we cultivate the art of Ichigo Ichie in our daily lives? It begins with a shift in perspective. It begins with the recognition that every moment is unique and unrepeatable. This conversation you are having, this place you are in, this breath you are taking, there will never be another one quite like it. When you understand this, you begin to see life differently. You begin to value the seemingly small and ordinary moments, because you realize they are not small or ordinary at all. One practical way to practice Ichigo Ichie is to slow down. In a world that glorifies speed and efficiency, slowing down can feel counterintuitive. But it is only by slowing down that we can truly see what is in front of us. Eat your food slowly, walk slowly, speak slowly. Give yourself the time and space to experience each moment fully. Another way is to practice gratitude. Gratitude is not just about being thankful for the big things in life, it is about appreciating the small things too. The smile of a stranger, the sound of birdsong, the feeling of clean sheets, these are gifts, and they deserve to be acknowledged. When you practice gratitude, you train yourself to notice the beauty and wonder that is already present in your life. And finally, learn to let go. Let go of the need to control, to plan, to predict. Let go of the past and the future, and allow yourself to be here now. This does not mean you should ignore your responsibilities or stop caring about your goals. It simply means you should not let them consume you. Life is too short to spend it anywhere other than the present. But let me ask you this, if you knew this moment was your last, how would you live it? Would you live it differently than you are now? And if so, what is stopping you? If we truly understood the fragility of time, would we live the way we do? Would we rush through our days, treating each moment as an obstacle to overcome, an inconvenience to endure, or a stepping stone to some imagined future? Or would we have the courage to stop, to breathe, to notice the immense beauty that exists in even the most mundane moments of our lives? The truth is, time is moving through us, whether we acknowledge it or not. And in this movement, everything we know and love is slowly slipping away. The people we hold dear, the places we call home, the experiences that define us, they are all impermanent. This is not meant to be a cause for despair, but for awakening. To live with the awareness of impermanence is to live fully. It is to understand that every moment is a gift, not because it will last forever, but because it won't. But why, then, do we cling so tightly to the illusion of permanence? Why do we act as though the things we love will always be there, as though we ourselves will always be there? Perhaps it is because we are afraid to confront the reality of loss. We fear the pain of saying goodbye, the ache of knowing that what we cherish will one day be gone. But isn't this fear itself a sign of how deeply we care? And isn't that caring precisely what makes life so meaningful? Ichigo Ichie reminds us that loss is not something to be feared but embraced. It is the very impermanence of life that makes it precious. Imagine if every moment could be repeated endlessly, if every experience could be had again and again. Would we value them in the same way? Would we feel the same urgency to live, to love, to create, to connect? Or would we take it all for granted, knowing that there would always be another chance? This is the paradox of life. It is precisely because things don't last that they matter. And yet, how often do we forget this? How often do we let the days blur together, waiting for some future moment when life will finally feel complete? How often do we tell ourselves, I'll be happy when, or I'll enjoy life once? But what if that moment never comes? What if we spend our entire lives waiting for a future that doesn't exist while the present slips away unnoticed? Let me ask you something deeply personal. When was the last time you truly felt alive? Not just busy, not just productive, but alive, fully awake to the experience of being human. Was it a moment of joy? A moment of connection? A moment of stillness? And what made that moment so different from the others? For many of us, the answer lies in attention. The moments when we feel most alive are the moments when we are fully present, when our attention is not divided between the past and the future but anchored in the here and now. These are the moments when life reveals itself in all its raw, unfiltered beauty. But attention is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. One way to train your attention is through mindful observation. The next time you find yourself in a familiar environment, your home, your workplace, a park, try to see it as though you were seeing it for the first time. Notice the colors, the textures, the sounds, the smells. Notice the way the light falls on different surfaces, the way the air feels on your skin. Notice the things you usually overlook. What do you see? What do you feel? Another way is to engage your senses fully. When you eat, focus on the taste and texture of your food. When you listen to music, pay attention to the layers of sound. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. Our senses are gateways to the present moment, but we often use them passively, letting the world wash over us without truly experiencing it. By engaging our senses actively, we can deepen our connection to the moment we are in. But there is another, more challenging practice, the practice of accepting impermanence. This means not only appreciating the beauty of the present, but also acknowledging its transience. It means understanding that every moment, no matter how joyful or painful, will pass. It means letting go of the need to hold on, to control, to make things last forever. This is not easy. It requires a willingness to feel deeply, to open yourself to both the joy and the sorrow of life. But in this openness, there is freedom. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you try to grip it tightly, the sand slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, with an open hand, it stays. Life is like that. The more we cling to it, the more it eludes us. But when we let go, when we stop trying to control the uncontrollable, we find that life has been there all along, waiting for us to notice it. This brings us to a crucial question: what does it mean to truly live? Is it about achieving success, accumulating wealth, or leaving a legacy? Or is it about something deeper, something less tangible but more profound? Is it about being fully present in the life you already have, rather than chasing after a life you think you should have? Ichigo Ichie suggests that the answer lies not in doing more, but in being more present, being more attentive, being more grateful. It is not about adding to your life, but about uncovering the richness that is already there. It is about realizing that every moment, no matter how ordinary, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But how do we balance this philosophy with the demands of daily life? How do we stay present when there are bills to pay, deadlines to meet, and responsibilities to fulfill? The answer is not to abandon these responsibilities, but to approach them with a different mindset. Instead of seeing them as obstacles to be overcome, see them as opportunities to practice presence. When you wash the dishes, feel the warmth of the water and the texture of the soap. When you answer emails, give your full attention to the words you are writing. When you commute to work, notice the people around you, the changing scenery, the rhythm of the journey. These moments may seem small, but they are the fabric of your life. And when you approach them with care and attention, they become meaningful. But let me challenge you with one final thought. What if we treated every interaction with another person as a once-in-a-lifetime meeting? What if we approached every conversation, every handshake, every smile with the awareness that it will never happen again in exactly the same way? How would that change the way we connect with others? How would it change the way we see ourselves? If every moment is unrepeatable, then every interaction leaves an imprint, not just on others, but on ourselves. We are shaped by the moments we live, by the attention we give to them, and by the way we show up for the people around us. Imagine for a second that the words you speak, the gestures you make, even the silence you hold, are all pieces of a mosaic you'll never have the chance to assemble again. What kind of picture are you creating with the moments you're given? Ichigo Ichie is not only about appreciating fleeting beauty, but also about understanding our role in shaping it. Each moment contains infinite possibilities, and how we respond to those moments determines the meaning we extract from them. Are we truly listening when a friend shares their thoughts, or are we waiting for our turn to speak? Are we offering a genuine smile to the stranger crossing our path, or are we looking past them lost in distracted thoughts? The way we engage with the world moment by moment is a reflection of who we are. And yet, how often do we act as though our time and attention are infinite resources? We scroll through our phones absent-mindedly while sitting across from loved ones. We rush conversations, assuming there will always be another chance to say the things we mean. But what if there isn't? This is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because here is the paradox: life is fragile, but it is also resilient. Each moment is fleeting, but it is also eternal in its impact. Think about the people who have shaped your life. Was it always through grand gestures, or was it often through small, seemingly insignificant moments? A kind word, a shared laugh, a look that made you feel seen. If we recognize the weight of these small moments, how can we justify sleepwalking through them? If we know that the way we treat each moment is the way we treat life itself, why do we so often give our moments away to distractions, routine, and indifference? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you told someone how much they mean to you? Not in passing, not in a casual "I appreciate you," but in a way that left no room for doubt. When was the last time you looked into someone's eyes and truly saw them not just as a role they play in your life, but as a living, breathing person with their own dreams, fears, and fragility? Ichigo Ichie teaches us that every encounter is unique, not just because of the circumstances, but because of who we are in that moment. You are not the same person you were yesterday, and neither is anyone else. The version of you that exists right now will never exist again, and the version of the person you are speaking to will never exist again. This is why every interaction matters. But there's a challenge in this awareness. Once you begin to see each moment as sacred, you also begin to see how much of life you've taken for granted. You might feel guilt for the times you've been careless with your time or attention. You might feel regret for the moments you've missed, for the words you didn't say, for the love you didn't give. And that's okay. Regret is not a burden to carry, it's a guide. It shows us what we value and what we want to prioritize moving forward. But here's where Ichigo Ichie becomes transformative. It reminds us that it's never too late to begin. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain, but the present is here, waiting for you. No matter how many moments you've squandered, this moment is still yours. And in this moment, you have the power to choose. Choose to pay attention. Choose to slow down. Choose to say the words that matter. Choose to notice the beauty that surrounds you, even if it's just the way sunlight filters through a window or the sound of wind in the trees. Choose to forgive yourself for the past and to step into the present with open eyes and an open heart. But let me challenge you again. What if you only had one day left to live? Not in a hypothetical sense, but truly. How would you spend it? Who would you call? What would you say? What would you notice that you've been too busy to see? And most importantly, why aren't you living that way now? We often think of life as something that happens in the future, a series of goals to achieve, milestones to reach, and dreams to fulfill. But life is not in the future. Life is what's happening now, in this moment, as you listen to these words. The future is not a guarantee, and the past is not a prison. The only thing that is real, the only thing that is yours, is the present. And yet we resist this truth. We fill our days with distractions, not because we lack time, but because we are afraid of what we might find if we truly slowed down. Silence can be uncomfortable. Stillness can feel unfamiliar. But they are also where life reveals itself in its purest form. Ichigo Ichie is not a philosophy for special occasions. It's not something to practice only when you're on vacation or when life feels extraordinary. It's a way of living that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's about finding beauty in the mundane and meaning in the ephemeral. It's about realizing that the moments you've been waiting for are already here. So how do we begin? We begin by noticing. Notice the way your body feels in this moment, the rhythm of your breath, the sensation of your feet on the ground. Notice the sounds around you, the hum of a distant conversation, the rustle of leaves, the quiet buzz of life. Notice the people in your life, their faces, their voices, their quirks that make them uniquely who they are. And then give yourself permission to be fully present. Put down your phone. Step away from the endless stream of emails and notifications. Look someone in the eye and truly listen to what they're saying. Taste your food as though it were the first and last time you'll ever eat it. Walk outside and feel the air on your skin as though you were stepping into the world for the very first time. This is not easy. It requires effort, discipline, and above all, courage. It requires you to confront the impermanence of life, to let go of the illusion of control, and to embrace the vulnerability of being fully alive. But in doing so, you will discover something extraordinary, that life, in all its messiness and unpredictability, is enough. The moments we live are not perfect, and they don't need to be. They don't need to conform to some idealized version of what life should look like. They only need to be lived. And when we live them fully, when we give them our attention, our gratitude, and our love, they become sacred. So I leave you with this: what kind of life do you want to create moment by moment? Not in the distant future, but here, now, in this fleeting, irreplaceable present. Because the truth is, the life you want is already within your reach. It's not out there, waiting for you to find it. It's here, waiting for you to live it. Thank you.